Welcome to Keeping It Real, the largest podcast made by real estate agents and for real estate agents. My name is DJ Paris. I'm your guide and host through the show. Today is our monthly series called Coaching Moments with Ryan D. Now, let me tell you a little bit more about Ryan if you're new to our show. Ryan actually comes on every single month to give our listeners and our viewers a coaching moment and a coaching session. So let me tell you about Ryan. Ryan DiApril is a progressive thought leader focused on providing for his agents and staff at DiApril Properties. His strengths are his motivational skills, coaching style, and his dedication to training. He has 14 offices throughout Chicagoland, and he's also in Wisconsin, Indiana, Michigan, and Florida. DiApril Properties focuses on high customer service, managing and executing their agents' marketing and transaction management for them so that their agents can stay focused on their business. Now, if you'd like to take your career to the next level, or maybe you're just not getting the attention you need from your existing company, please check out DiApril Properties. Visit DiAprilProperties.com. That's DAPRILE. Just like it sounds, DiAprilProperties.com. There'll be a link to that in our show notes. We should also mention that in addition to running a real estate brokerage, Ryan also has a title company, a mortgage arm, and also I feel like I'm missing one. And a technology arm as well. So Ryan really runs a lot of different companies within the real estate space. So his perspective when we talk about how to stay on target is not just focused around brokerage. It's really kind of a holistic approach. So we're excited to have him on and get his wisdom. Ryan, welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, it's software. Our software company is Zanello, so it's a custom made. Just since you brought up, it's a custom made CRM that integrates with the MLS and other providers out there. We're actually going to market with it. We're going to market first with the mortgage product. So we've had a tremendous amount of success. I just started calling on individuals about 3 weeks ago and getting a tremendous amount of interest on it. But we've been running our businesses off it for the past couple of years. It's been really successful. So we're really excited about that. So I appreciate you mentioning that.
And it also, just to sort of whet the appetite of the listeners, as this, there's a million different CRMs for realtors in the marketplace. What makes yours in particular, I find most attractive and interesting, is that it's really what I would call all event focused. So it's able to identify reasons for an agent to then reach out to their sphere of influence, their existing clients. It actually identifies opportunities and really prompts the user or the agent to then take action, which a lot of CRMs are just like upload your database, create some sort of strategy for staying in touch, and then it will remind you to do that. But yours actually identifies opportunities, which I think is so cool.
Well, a lot of them I find have too much information, and most people only are using about 10% of it. And so I try to, keep the acronym KISS, keep it simple, stupid, and just minimize it so we actually could track our business, be very well aware of it, be aware of where our business is coming for. We have a snapshot. It'll tell you your main lead source, where your primary amount of your business is, anniversaries and closing dates, all that kind of stuff. Tie into social media connections with your network so you can see what's going on with them, track how but you got to participate in it, right? It's like anything, it's you're going to get out of it what you put into it. And so that's why coaching is always so important. I was with a loan officer of ours today, and he said I could spend 4 hours in this thing. It's got so much. I'm like, exactly, you can, and it'll tell you exactly what to do step by step, and then it becomes a process, not just a guessing game. What am I going to do today? Most of us wake up and we just react to the day, where
Yes.
I'd rather you have a plan laid out and just run that plan consistently.
Yeah, and I encourage everyone who's listening. This is such a simple thing that everybody already knows, but I encourage you the night before, to really go over your day and maybe just identify the 3 to 5 major things you want to accomplish the next day, and then also revisit that in the morning, because I knowing all of that, I still have to remind myself, okay, before I go to bed, let's take a look at tomorrow and let's identify a few things. So obviously that's a very simple, obvious step, but something that is easily overlooked.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about today?
Well, let's talk about the market. Let's talk about, we're coming in pretty soon to the fourth quarter. I mean, it goes like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Let's talk about how do we, prepare for this fall season, which is upon us. And then, more importantly, are you ready for the spring market? And what does your spring market look like? And
And I think I want to pause just for a moment because I want to mention why I think this is so important, because I spend a lot of time with realtors. Obviously, we have a lot at our firm, and then I'm involved with our local association. So I even get to talk to a lot of realtors outside of our company. And even the most really the more successful realtors that I talk to, everyone seems to be really focused on what's going on today in the market, right? And we talk, if I ask somebody how's it going, they talk about what's going on today. Oh, inventory's down, rates are up, it's a struggle. And I don't hear a lot about, well, what else should I be thinking about today, right? So I'm excited for us to provide some additional insight into maybe a different way to think about today. And you were saying, let's think about the spring.
absolutely. And in fact, I'll even share my screen with you if I can
Mhm.
to show you how we look at it. Is that okay with you?
Sure. And we'll just describe it for our audio listeners. That's fine.
Oh yeah, okay, fine. That's right. That's right. It's a podcast. I'm thinking because we're on video here. But let me see if I can pull this up. I'm gonna be careful with some confidentiality here. So let me just think of how I can do this here. I'm gonna make this a little bit. Let me come over here. Okay, let me make this a little bit bigger, but let me show you how this works.
And I'll do my best to describe it to our audience.
Oh, you have to allow me to share.
Okay, I will do that.
Sorry about that. This just came
No,
last week.
I always you should be able to now.
Yep. Okay, so you can see my screen here.
I can see it. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go kind of quickly through this. I don't want to be on it too long here, but like this is in leads. This is a sales funnel, right? And I'm gonna make it bigger so you don't really see client names here. Okay.
Sure.
So is that okay?
Yeah. We
All right,
can.
because this is one of our agents' actual dashboards, right? You could, here, this is the visual cues are incredibly important, right? So this particular agent has closed $19 million year to date, $3 million currently pending, 5.6 million active, another 5.6 of clients that they feel will close this calendar year. That comes from this here, closing this calendar year. So, in coaching and working with this agent can manage this themselves by looking at it. They could go and filter over here by this year, and it'll show just individuals that you have going this year. So I'm not going to show their names there. But you could go through and calibrate, like, do I really have $5.68 million of leads, not active clients, leads, right? Here's active. That's a totally different animal. Leads that will close this calendar year. And now that we're like 4.5 months left of the year, it's going to get tighter and tighter. So you got to get more and more critical on these particular leads and then shift them. Hey, are they more next year? Or are you even certain that they're going to transact or hire you? So on this particular loan off agent's dashboard here, you'll see you got $18.9 million closing next year. That's wonderful. So I'm going to click on closing next year, right? And you're going to see there's 33 leads. So I would come over to here and I'm going to look at, again, I'm doing my best not to show you the client name.
Sure.
But there's a last note date right here, right? So now I'm going to organize like, okay, so of this night, and this is, again, you could tell this is let's just look, this agent will do anywhere between 25 and 30 million in volume this year. 7 years in the business and monitors their business, takes it very, serious what their day is. They use this dashboard consistently, the Zanello product. And now we're teaching and coaching our agents like, hey, make sure you close this $5.68 million of business this year and you're taking care of it. And of course, look at your network and make sure you're in flow with your network. But look at all of this business that you have next year. Click on it. That's 33 individuals for a total of $19 million of business. When was the last time you touched base with them? When was the last time you saw them for a cup of coffee? When was the last time you went to dinner or lunch with them? This is next year. This year is over. This year, we're just maintaining and closing out what we got currently going on. You got to be looking downfield. What's going on next year?
So I have a quick question. So looking at this, describing it, we mentioned just about under 6 million in possible closings this year this particular, again, I know it's a mortgage agent, but really it's same.
No, this is a real estate agent.
process.
This is a real estate
Oh, I'm
agent.
sorry. This is real estate agent.
This is real estate. Mortgage lending looks a little bit different.
Yeah. So there's about 6 million or so that we want to close this year. And you said better make sure they're closing this year, or updating it to maybe next year, or removing them
Correct. Yeah.
from the funnel. How do you recommend somebody goes into that group and sees it? What's the actual process of staying in touch to say, hey, are you going to close, without just asking them? Or do you recommend just asking the client, are you planning on
Yeah.
doing
You
something?
you ask, you focus first on relationship, but then you got to be direct and have conversation. Hey, when are we going to go out? When do you want to list your home? Where's the home going to be priced at? That's what you're going to ask internally. If they're a buyer, when do you want to get out next? And you got to, it's like, well, let's get out, let's start looking in November, because it's September, what, 13th today? So, or 12th? Yes, yesterday was September 11th. So if somebody says, yeah, no, Ryan, thanks for reaching out. I'm thinking we're ready, but we don't want to get out to maybe right after Thanksgiving. I'm coming here and I'm changing them to closing next
Year.
Yeah, they're not going away. It's just when I come over to my snapshot, right? And my snapshot saying, hey, I'm forecasted to do 34 million this year. I've closed 20 million. I got $3.2 million that's pending. I got 5.6 that are active, but here's the 5.6 that are certain to close. These are the leads. So this would go down, this would go up, right? Here's your leads. And so you get your timeline, 5.8 this year, 11 uncertain they're going to transact, and 19 million for next year, right? Here's your lead sources. You can see 50% from the network referring them, 40% from network referral. Then we have open house, internet, relocation leads, whatnot. So, and you do the exact same thing with your actives. You come over here and actives, their actives actually, his active.
An active means you're currently working with them.
Correct. So he's got $4.96 million of sellers and $735,000 worth of buyers, which comes out to that 5.6 number, which happens to be very similar to what the leads are. They're closing this year, but they're two different categories. This is 14 active clients. When we come over to leads, $5.68 million in a total of 16 leads. Now you close out your year. Now you calibrate it, you figure where they're out, you close it out, and then you look downfield and you say, okay, great. I got 19 million here for next year, which is 33 people. You better be in flow with those 33 people this next 4 months, so that you are the realtor in 2023.
What you've worked with thousands of agents over your tenure as you were an agent yourself. Of course, you now have a company with hundreds and hundreds of agents and loan officers and different sort of jobs within the real estate industry. But with respect to realtors, I wonder what percentage of agents know what their actual pipeline looks like. I bet it's a pretty low number who actually know, okay, well, they might know where they're at for the year, but do they really have a good sense of what's closing before the end of the year? Yeah, maybe. What's closing next year? That's got to be even a smaller percentage of people who know this. I wonder, just by forecasting this way, what this does to someone's business. Even if it's kind of like I always heard, if you just write down your goals, you have a better chance of achieving them, even if you don't do anything. Obviously you have to do things too, but I suspect this is a major first step, just getting it all down and reviewing the numbers.
It really is. And I think the key is maintaining your business. And a lot of us, gosh, I would venture to say 92 to 94% of the real estate agents out there are reactive and not proactive, and loan officers too. Look, the past 20 years in the mortgage lending business, it's been order taking. There's just no, except for 2008, it's been order taking, and it has shifted. Loan officers have got to be out there. They've got to be proactive. They've got to be creating relationships with their sphere of influence, their network, and real estate agents. And it's probably the worst mortgage lending business we've seen in 20 years. But now you're seeing 94% of the loan officers struggling. Real estate agents, our real estate market shifting too. You don't have to struggle. The business is always there. But if you're a reactive real estate agent, when the market dips, your business will dip too. There's no doubt. Now, if you're a proactive agent, when the market dips, your business will dip as well, but not dramatically. In most cases, you'll probably have an uptick versus a minor downtick. But in the mortgage lending business, we're seeing loan officers with businesses down 45 to 65%. Real estate agents, you don't want that. But you will get it if you're reactive. And
And I even think there's little subtle ways to start the day that sort of create more reactivity. I know for me, I had to stop checking my phone the moment I woke up, because I used to check to see what emails came through over the night. Not that you don't need to look at that, of course you do, but it put me in a reactive mindset literally within the first moment of waking up. I was like, I better see what happened over the night. And it's really never anything that can't wait an hour or two before I start my day. But I don't do that anymore, because it puts me in a reactive mindset. It's like, okay, now I need to react to this. Now I need to, and I've like, no, I need to first set my intention for the day and really have a good awareness of what my day is going to look like. Then I can go back and I now just only allow myself to check emails a few times a day.
yeah, that's one of the best things you can do. It's not easy.
It's
And
hard.
that phone is a powerful thing. I was at Iowa with my daughter over the weekend, like we were talking about, and I left my wallet at home.
Oh
And
no.
yeah, wife was with me, but but the tab came, and I just asked the lady, "Do you do Apple Pay?" She said, "Of course." There's a QB. I'm like, my daughter said, "Dad, you soon won't need a wallet or credit cards anymore." I said, "Honey, you won't need a wallet anymore."
Right.
I mean, it's a matter of time where you won't even need a. I hate that lump in my back.
Annoying.
I
Yeah.
can't stand it, and so but because of that, I'm getting stupid Wall Street Journal alerts. I'm gotta turn that shit off, right? I've turned my email alerts off, my text messages off. So it's me too. It's like any of us, right? It's like, things like kryptonite. Once it grabs you, it'll control your day. And I heard this expression one time, like if you treat the market like God, right? If you treat the market like God, then like God giveth, God taketh away. That's what's going to happen to you. So you can't treat the market like God. You got to take control of your marketplace, and your marketplace is your network, and your network should be in a database, and you should have a CRM, and you should use and live in that CRM. And there's a lot of people that are part-time passive in this business. It's their full income, right? But it's a very passive approach to it. But the top of the top, the guests that you have on these shows, they treat it like a business. They're dead serious. They're involved. They probably do know what they have closing next year. They probably do know the name of the clients and their temperatures and whatnot. And that's why I built this. I didn't see anything out there like that. So that's what I created for our company. Now I'm going to start sharing it with others.
It's very exciting. And I do think this idea of, text messages, we could talk about this for a moment, because I would like to get your take on this. So text message, and I only bring this up because I hear a lot of agents talk about it, is that one of the challenges with having our devices with us at all times, aside from being, well, part of being reactive, is clients text. And most people, I think, find that that's a much bigger part of their business than it used to be. People are more comfortable. And a text exchange doesn't have a beginning or an ending. Well, it has a beginning, but it doesn't have an ending, really, right? So people can just continue on this conversation anytime, day or night. Really, there are no boundaries around texts, really. So I'm curious on how you coach your agents to not let the texting become like, because it can be infinite and whenever, and you see that text come in and you don't want to be reactive. You're like, I'm only going to respond a couple times during the day. But how do you set the right boundary, and how do you let the client know that I'm only responding? Or do you recommend going a different way with that?
Yeah, no, okay, so there's two different things. So one, it seems like you're asking, how do you manage the client and your time? So you got to react to what they want, but so your whole day is not reactive versus proactive. And so you do got a time block, and you have to say, when am I going to be the one sending the text out versus the text coming in? When am I going to be the one sending the text out? Where am I going to track it? And so that I know, hey, DJ Paris is in my network. I want to be in touch with him once a month, being his buddy, because the reality is once every 7 years, he buys and sells a home. And every single year, 4 people in his network buy or sell a home. So he's got potential for referrals for me, right? That's just how it comes down to. So if I have 200 people in my network that I'm in flow with every single month, I have a potential 800 referrals for my network. And 16% of them are going to transact. So that's another 32 potential transactions. So where does my business come from? Where do I make my money? Is being in flow with DJ Paris, who is not actually an active client, right? He's somebody that's in my network. And then I go on and block. So that's why I built this thing kind of like the old, the Toyota manufacturing system, where just in time, the Kanban, the visual flow, you have different silos, right? You have one is your network, and there's 200, 300, 400 people in there. That's my job. I got to be proactive with them. Then I'll come over to my next one, which is my leads. Closing this year, closing next year, not starting to transact. Those leads live in that network tab. I'm skipping over them because it says, hey, it's in your funnel. It's either in your leads or your active or your under contract tab. So when I come over to my network and I'm being proactive, I'll see DJ Paris, and I touched base with him in August 15th of 2022. It's September 12th. And guess what? I sent him a Facebook message, and that's the note I sent. So now I'm going to just do a little research, 2 minutes. I'm going to pick up a phone and I'm going to shoot you a text message. That's how I'm going to do it. Now, when I
so we're even talking about monitoring that activity, social media activity, in the sense of, hey, when's the last time I proactively, reached out to DJ, and what was the way I did it? Did I do it via text, via social media, phone, email, mail?
Right.
Yeah.
That needs to be tracked. That needs it, and that's for you. That your borrower, your buyer or seller, they're not going to. It's for you, right? And again, it's nurturing relationships. So I see DJ, and he was at Misericordia the past weekend, and he put it on Facebook. I said, "Oh my gosh, DJ, I got 2 friends with siblings over at Misericordia, and I golf in the bums outing every year, right?" And all of a sudden, because of that, I'm able to create immediate connection with you. And then I move on to the next important person in my network, and that's me nurturing my relationship. And that's the proactive. Now, when I go to text you that, I might see 5 text messages from active clients or leads. I gotta move on. I gotta push those to the side and go through I got DJ, I'm doing 7 a day. I got 6 more to do. If I start at 9, I'll be done at 9:45. And now I could get over to those text messages. But before I get over those text messages, I go to the network, I'm gonna go to my leads. Okay, I got 45 leads. Of those 45 leads, 7 of them have not heard from me in 3 weeks. Great. Now I just got 7 to go, and then all 45 have heard from me within the past 3 weeks. And now you go to the reactive. Let's go file these active clients that text me, update it, go to my active clients. I got 15 active clients and 7 texting me. I'll update that, and I'll go knock out the other 8. I've just accomplished an entire day of work by 11 o'clock in the morning. And I can now do whatever I want with the day. Right.
And what we haven't talked about is servicing existing clients. We haven't talked about checking the market. We are talking about business building activities, which are staying in touch, in your case, with this example, with your network, monitoring it so that you actually, or tracking it rather, and putting all the activity in so you know exactly how long it's been, so that because people might be listening going, okay, well, I know I have to reach out to these 30 people today, or however many people are on my on my CRM today. But now you get to be a bit creative with it. You don't have to call 30 people. You can, or you can, you can see what they're doing, posting on social. Like Ryan said, he saw that I was at an event this weekend, and so he might comment on that. That counts, right? Anything counts. It doesn't have to be, hey, when are you buying or selling? It just has to be some sort of reach out. And there's lots of ways to do that. So it's not like you have to call everyone and say, when are you buying or selling? Because Ryan knows I'm probably not buying or selling for a while.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And it's going to be more focused on you and the relationship, right? And then that way you attract business instead of chasing business. Now, at some point, especially in different businesses that you're in, so if you're a mortgage lender listening to the show, you need to ask for the referral. It's more appropriate in a business to business environment that loan officers are in versus a business to consumer, which real estate agents are. Loan officers, of course, are as well, because they deal with the consumer. But majority of us, probably 80% of us, our sales calls are on those real estate agents. So that's
I was thinking, it's that I think it's M. Scott Peck wrote the book, It's Never Crowded Along the Extra Mile. That he might have been the Road Less Traveled guy. Anyway, somebody wrote, actually I think it was Robert Frost, the poet. But anyway, the expression, it's never crowded along the extra mile. I don't remember who said that or wrote it, but
take the highway, there's less traffic up there.
Yeah, that's right. Because I was just thinking, so I moved into a new development a year and a half ago, and you know how many postcards I've received from realtors. Now, again, am I going to move anytime soon? Or people who moved into a development moving? Probably not. but a heck of a good time to start a relationship. Maybe we didn't have good experiences with our realtors.
Oh,
Not everyone does, right? I have gotten
listen.
exactly 0 postcards,
So
0.
that's another point for all of our listeners here, right? I mean, the market's shifting. It's going to be a flight to quality. You got to be up on your game if you want to have a similar year you had in 2020 and 2021. It's not going to just come. You've got to be deliberate. You got to be proactive. One of the things that we should all be doing is in our database, right? We have previous sales. We should be looking at 2021 and 2020 sales and even 2019. We should be looking at data closed, and we should
Yeah,
be in tune with our past buyer clients on their home anniversaries, especially the ones for the immediate year. That's where your highest degree of referrals are going to come from. But even the past 3 years, that's where like that juicy referral business comes from. As you saw on the agent's dashboard I just had, the $20 million production year to date. 50% was from his network. The other 50% was from his network referring him. That's $10 million
amazing.
of referrals. People he had no idea, but the network he nurtured and took care of referred him that business. By the way, that average price point is just over $300,000 for that $20 million producer. So that's like 70 plus units in a year sold. It's so for all the listeners across the country, right? Who start saying to themselves, well, he's in Chicago. They're probably $900,000. Not that person. That person's average price point is in the mid three. In fact, $330,000 is Chicagoland average price. It might have climbed up in the past year or so, but those numbers are attainable anywhere. You just got to get a database. You got to get a group of people. You got to create a network. You got to nurture that network. You got to be consistent. Denzel Washington, I saw a little clip on him. It was great. He's like, if you're not committed, you're never going to start. But if you're not consistent, you're never going to finish.
Yeah.
So many people are just not consistent. I truly feel a database, a good CRM will bring you back to that consistency, and don't get distracted with all the bells and whistles, because less is more, in my opinion, to a good CRM.
And doing it's always the little things. It's remembering someone's home anniversary. Well, it's actually not remembering, because no one's going to remember that, especially the person who moved in is probably not going to remember it either. But your CRM is going to remember that, and it's going to tell you today's so-and-so's home anniversary. Are you going to call them, text them, send them a social media post, drop off a gift, send them a card? You're going to do something, and
There's
you just have
vendors out
to.
there that will help you with that as well. Client Giant, I can't attest to them because I've never used them, but my agents have, and they like it a lot. So I'm giving them a shout out, even though I don't know them from Adam, but I've heard from a lot of our agents that use it. It's really good for buyer clients when you're active with them. And then it's also very good for like those anniversaries. It's customized, it's not branded, right? Which is good. It's like coming from you, it's genuine. So that's a good resource for you guys to be looking at. And again, that's going to squeeze that orange and get you more referrals.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's really interesting. So let's go back to the example of the person that we looked at. We don't have to see any of the stuff,
Sure.
but that's really interesting. So 7 years in the business, 30 million, average price point is actually less than the average Chicago home. So it's not like this person's playing in the ultra high net worth space mostly. They're working with average people. And
I'll read out the 14 clients that he's currently active with. $260,000, $285,000 through $35,000, $180,000, $350,000, $475,000. That's a big one. 1 million. We got a big one there. $400,000, $275,000. I mean, you know what I mean? Besides the exception of that $1 million one, but there's another one for $35,000. That's going to bring that back, right?
Sure.
It's, sold, 67 units year to date, $100,000, $237,000, $100,000, $155,000, $200,000, $645,000, $80,000, $363,000, $145,000. That's just a quick sample. I'll stop going on and on, but I wanted to just, for your viewers to hear, like, this is an individual who sold $20 million year to date, is still below 30 years old. You know what I mean?
And is probably going to close right around 30 or 28 or so.
Yeah. I mean, it's already at $24 million with what's pending as well. If you add what he's closed year to date and what's currently under contract, is at about 24 million.
That is a heck of a good those are fantastic numbers for somebody in their 20s. Well, for any age, but certainly somebody who's not even 30 yet, and for being 7 years in the industry, and for being in a year where we hear a lot of doom and gloom. That is fantastic. So what's the secret to that person's success? Just activity and consistency?
Yeah, here's the reality. In my opinion, this person has bought into the system, the process that we've coached on, right? Didn't fight it, just kind of followed through, had a mediocre first year, had an okay second year, came out third year, stayed consistent. I have a lot of agents that are having great bang out years, but I know they got something else coming to them because they're not being consistent. I've seen it time and time again. And so are you consistent with it, or are you caught up on the latest and newest fad and trend? And everybody's always going to come and tell us, here's the future of real estate. This is direction it's going to go. I haven't in my 20 years seen real estate change that much. Yeah. And I'm not going to start believing now that it's going to completely change to a different angle either. It comes down to individuals, the strength of the relationships. You and I were talking about teams. I don't think the whole industry is going to go to teams. I really don't.
That's good, because that's all I keep reading about. So I'm glad to hear a different perspective.
It's not.
Most people are individual practitioners. So
and it's going to continue to be like that. And that's why I think, real estate agents, the concept of selling your book of business, sure, it'd be a nice thing. It's get excited about it. There's nothing there, you guys. It's the relationships. You're going to ride out the sunset in this business, put away, max out that SEP IRA, that self-directed 401k, be smart with your money. But it is unless you're in a completely transient marketplace, and in totally transient marketplaces, say like Chicago, right? Downtown Chicago, or Miami, New York, right? Yeah, online leads are going to give you more there, right? You're going to be able to be more transient. Open houses are probably going to be more successful because there's not such tight communities, right? But in the majority of America, right, there are suburbs, there are neighborhoods, there are communities. Be a part of that community. And those individuals are hiring you because they know you, they like you, they trust you, they got a relationship with you. That's how people, it's very arbitrary how people pick real estate agents. It's the person that comes to mind, right? And they're usually calling one person. And it's the same thing, when a lot of times when you're building a home, or you're going to get a remodeling project done, or you're even hiring an attorney. It's who the first person that comes to mind. Sure, I like you, help me. It's just how it works.
Yeah, I want to go back to that individual for a second. I just realized something, and I just want to sort of put this in the mind of our listeners. Again, somebody in their 7th year, still not 30 years old yet, and
might have just 30. Yeah, I gotta remember, but yes.
Well, we'll say right around 30, and 7 years in, and is basically closing a deal, every 5 to 6 days. He has a transaction closing, something like that. He said he did about 70.
70. Let's just look here. Under contract, yeah, about 70.
So this is somebody who's closing a transaction essentially every week. That is remarkable right then and there. And that is somebody who apparently, and by the way, half of his business came from his sphere of influence directly. The other half came from his referrals from his sphere of influence. So it's not like he's even buying leads.
40% came from his network directly. Okay, so help me with my math. What's 4 times 7? 28. Right. So 28 deals came from his network. 32% came from his network referring him. So referrals from his network.
Okay, so another 22 or so.
Right. So what do we get total? What add those two together?
60 something. Or no, 50.
Yeah, 72, 73%. Then 13% came from 4 sale signs. 8% came from a lead from that listing. Right?
Amazing.
And then an open house. You know what I mean? It's like it all comes down to the power of that network. And then once you start going, you start getting listings, you start getting leads from your listings, and it starts to snowball.
Yeah, I mean, this is somebody
I mean, if I were to
who's
show
not been handed a lead. I have not heard, oh, he's either purchasing leads or been handed leads by the company. This is somebody who literally just has nurtured their sphere of influence for 7 years.
that is a very profitable, and what he's closed year to date is $500,000 in gross commission income. That's a very profitable GCI. And there's a lot of people that do that kind of GCI, but it's not nearly that profitable because they're paying $10,000 a month for leads or more. I've seen it. And
Yeah,
then
that is really that case study of that individual. That is a remarkable person, because it might not seem remarkable, but if we think about all of those numbers there stacked together, is whew, that's a heck of a career right there for somebody who's about 30 years old.
that person does not live in Chicago. Okay. He's in one of our outlying markets. And that person is not originally from that area, moved there 7 years
Yeah.
ago. And you just saw it's all from network and referral network. So anybody can do it. It's just, are you committed? And if you're not committed, you're never going to start. And there's probably 80% of our real estate agents are like that. And then are you consistent? Because if you're consistent, if you're not consistent, you're not going to finish. So it takes two really tough, tubes of iron in your body to be committed and to be consistent. And I applaud those that consistently listen to your podcasts, that go to coaching, that go on to the next level. There are some that will just come easy to do and they'll just continue to do it. But for those of us that it's not, there are tools out there. They'll tell you exactly what you need to do, but you got to use them. You got to be in them. It's surprising what would happen to your business if you dedicated 3 hours to it proactively versus 4 or 5 hours just being reactive all day long.
Yeah, I think you really have to figure out a way to turn off the alerts, the notifications, and put the blinders on like the horses have in racing, and just focus on the task ahead. And it's hard because we're all so connected, and it is a bit of setting up your systems to sort of make sure, like when I go to the gym, I make sure everything's turned off. When I wake up in the morning, I make sure it's turned off. There's certain times of the day when we want to do what's called one mindfulness, where you're focused on one activity at a time so you can give it its full attention and you're not pulled, because we get a dopamine reward when we're reactive, because it feels like we just did something productive. We replied to an email. We and you have to do those things. We just want to structure it so that you're doing it intentionally versus, oh, it just came across my plate and I really didn't want to pick up the phone right now, so I'm going to deal with that instead of picking up the phone and calling somebody and saying, hey, I saw you were just on vacation. Where'd you go? Tell me about it. That's being proactive.
Absolutely. And then you're focused more on your business than the news and the marketplace. Because if you listen to the news and you're just watching the marketplace, you could go to a very dark place.
Well, look, we know this about social media. I think, what you've said about social media, about it being the way to, maybe the most healthy way to think about it from a business perspective, is this is your research and development. This is paying attention to what's going on with your clients so that you have a reason to reach out to them, versus really trying to make a splash yourself by promoting yourself, which you should probably figure out a way to do that, of course, too. And I know you agree with that, but using it more as a research and development tool versus
You should be promoting yourself, but you should be putting equal amount of effort into nurturing your network. Now, most people spend 80% of their time promoting themselves and maybe probably less than 5% in nurturing the network. If people got that to 50-50, their business would just take off. We just absolutely take off. But we're still in that, even though Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and everything else been around for over a decade now, if not longer, right? But it's still kind of new to us. We're kind of jumping into that and making that like our center point of branding.
Yeah, you have to be really careful because as you and I know, and I mean, the research is really clear at this point, that the more time you spend on social media absorbing it, is you actually get your happiness goes down, you feel more disconnected. So there's a lot of good reasons to stay away from social media as an entertainment vehicle. So if you can then say, okay, well, what's really can be useful about it is knowing what's going on in my clients' lives and reacting to that is going to bring you business.
And it's interesting. So, right, we could, I won't name, but we could name some high profile social media people, right? and their target market is national, right? So a real estate coach, say Buffini, or give me another one.
Tom Ferry.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to say. Tom Ferry. Ryan Surratt. Am I saying his name right?
Yep, Sirhan.
Right? Sirhan, right? Those guys, right? They're targeting a national network, real estate agents. Our clients are not national. It's really local to our network. And how many of them are really living on it? And the reality is it's very difficult to boost real estate related type of advertising because of fair housing.
Oh, I get ads denied all the time that have nothing to do with fair housing simply because real estate's mentioned in the title.
And who you should be promoting that to is your network, your friends, and your friends of friends. Well, you can't do that. So the reality is probably 5 to 6% of your network may be seeing. I'm not saying don't do it, but you got to complement it with direct mail, email marketing, some outdoor marketing. But again, if you are like most real estate agents, 5% being involved with your network and 95% branding, networking, and just being reactive, you get that balance of 50-50. You're going to do what that individual that I just showed you is closed $20 million year to date. And I can take that individual and put him side by side with other real estate agents that I know in different marketplaces. And there's no way that real estate agent should be selling more real estate than the other agent, but he's just committed and dedicated to being consistent. And that's all it comes down to. It's my job to make everybody crystal clear. That's the only differentiator. Any one of you can have it when you decide A, to start, and then B, to be consistent with it and follow through it for a full year.
Yeah, if you just well, it's really, you need a guide. I think you need somebody that can help get you out of the habits that you've created that aren't helpful. And you need a guide, meaning a coach, an accountability partner. This is where coaching comes in, and this is where you guys, your firm in particular, really helps. And not that every agent wants that particular help, but boy, I know if I was a working agent, I would want somebody keeping me accountable, making sure I have systems in place to make sure that I stay on target, because we all know that everyone listening, we all have parts of our life that we want to do other things that we can't get ourselves to do, right? Maybe we want to go to the gym more, maybe we want to spend more time with our kids, maybe want to be better about our finances, whatever it might be, or maybe work more on our business or whatever it is, and we just don't seem to do it. And if you can get a coach to help you, it's worth the investment.
We'll also, so even besides coaching, some people don't want to have coaching, but what we'll do is we'll take the transaction management and the monthly marketing off your hands, and provide that for you and have it done for you so that you're even more motivated to be engaged with that network, and then taking care of your CRM and tracking your business. I will, I'll attest to my wife. She does 25 million in volume every year. And, her marketing is very simple. It's done consistently. It consists of social media posts once or twice a week, which, are provided to her, a postcard once a month to her network and her farm, some local magazine ads in the neighborhood. And that's it. And she doesn't even touch that stuff. And she's in flow with probably 5 or 6 people in her network a day. And therefore, she is able to be a mom first and foremost and focus on the 3 girls and taking care of me and everything else, while putting up tremendous numbers and not killing herself because she's consistent with it. Could she do more? Absolutely, but she doesn't want to. She's great where she is. So am I.
And by the way, that's a heck of a good full-time income without all the other responsibilities.
Wonderful.
Right? Just being an agent, that's a heck of a good income.
Absolutely. Anybody can have it. Anybody could have it, but it's, again, are you more on the MLS? Are you more in your transaction management software? Are you more texting and emailing active and existing clients? And are you just not prospecting? And when I say prospecting, it's not calling and asking for a referral. It's calling and nurturing relationships and following a system. It's people choose to drive blind every single day with the most important part of their life, besides family and health, that, the third part, business, which is income, it's financial health. It's like, it's beyond me. You got to take control. Anybody could do it. You could start whenever you want. And especially times now, like now and what's to come, people are going to realize how more and more focused you have to be And then it's not just going to come to you. We can't be order takers. We got to be very proactive, got to be very business oriented, and be very proactive versus reactive.
And what this will do, having structure and knowing exactly what your day is, sort of looks like. And I know things change, of course, but knowing the approximate structure of the day will alleviate a tremendous amount of anxiety, because what you'll find is you're not worried as much about when's that important phone call going to come in with somebody who needs me to buy or sell. You are taking proactive steps, and you're making your own luck. Those phone calls will come in over time, like you said. Work this for a year and see what happens.
Right.
And then just continue to work it forever. And there you go.
That's it. It's that simple.
Awesome. Well, what a great place to wrap up. I should mention, for anyone who is in who lives in Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida, Ryan and his company, they're not in every part of every state, but if you live in those states and you're interested in learning more about what Ryan's companies do, again, they have real estate brokerage, they've got a lending. So if you're a loan officer and you're looking to see what other options are out there, of course, speak to them too. They have title, they've got a technology firm where they're putting out software. But if you're just most of our listeners are going to be agents. If you're really just wanting to see what other firms offer, check out DApril Properties. They really have a unique value proposition. They're not just like all of the other firms. They really, really try to focus on what are the hardest things that agents struggle with, and they allow you to take that off your plate. And this has to do with some marketing and staying in flow and staying in touch so that you can focus on what's best in your business. I've yet to really see a firm. I don't know of any other firms that do it. So this is truthfully, that's a really, really unique proposition, and you owe it to yourself to see what they offer and see if it's a good fit for you. So go to DAprilProperties.com. Their team would love to chat with you. And so on behalf of all of us here at the podcast and all the listeners, we thank Ryan for coming on every month. He's got 4 businesses to run, and he's got a daughter in college and 2 others and so the other 2 in high school too, I think, right?
Yeah, junior, senior. In fact, I have a coaching session here at 3:00. Then I'm going to watch my daughter cheerlead and then come back for a 5:30 meeting. So
he's a busy guy and he takes time out for us, and we appreciate it. So thank you, Ryan. And on behalf of Ryan and myself, we thank everyone for listening. Please tell a friend about our show and support our sponsors on the show, support Ryan, as well as tell a friend, and also leave us a review. Just let us know what you think of the show. That'll help us continue to improve. All right, Ryan, thank you so much. We will see you on the next, see you next month.
All right, DJ, take care.